Hey guys, a bunch of you sent this to me, the latest Jesse Enkamp video titled, I Fought Michael Jai White. It had a really cool thumbnail, and of course, they didn't really fight. I'm sure they choreographed a movie fight scene, but I gotta check this out and I want to commentate on it. Jesse, of course, did the videos with Steven Skull. I would have loved to see them choreograph a fight scene too. Oh, before we get into that though, I do want to point out something cool. So I partnered with Ryan Reynolds. No, I'm not going to be Wolverine in the new Deadpool movies, unfortunately, but this is good news for you because I'm going to help spread the word to Mint Mobile. He owns that company, by the way, and you could save so much money on your wireless bill. Click the link below so you can become part of the nation's largest 5G network. Switching your plan takes as little as 15 minutes, and there are plans literally as low as $15 a month. So with all the inflation going on in the world, this is like deflationary, right? There's no way you're not going to save money. Anyway, check it out. It's the nation's largest 5G network, and well, I wonder what Ryan Reynolds has to say about it.
Hey there, it's Ryan Reynolds, owner of Mint Mobile. Enticing, right?
But let's check this out.
That's me. And this is Michael Jai White, the greatest martial artist in Hollywood.
Wait a minute now. Wait a minute. Oh.
I mean, he's in the discussion. I don't know what Jesse's using for criteria, because of course, a lot of great martial arts in Hollywood. Jean-Claude Van Damme, Steven Seagal. If you just go by the movies, they were in the bigger movies, right? So they would win. If you go by martial arts, I guess if you go by black belts, Michael Jai White has like 8 different black belts.
I have 8 black belts now.
So he might technically have more black belts than the other guys.
It is the truth.
You go by pure skill, that's really hard to see. You got guys like Scott Adkins, for example, raising the bar, adding all kinds of the extra fancy taekwondo moves and tricking and stuff. And obviously Tony Jaa does that as well. So I think you could put Michael Jai White in the discussion. I don't think you could flat out say the greatest martial artist in Hollywood. There's just too many other guys, man. When people say best martial artist ever on film, I mean, they might say Billy Blanks, they might say Jean-Claude Van Damme. I don't think anybody has really said, oh, Lorenzo Lamas. You know, it's like...
Well, I did.
But as far as like guys doing movies now in Hollywood, it's really Scott Adkins and Michael Jai White that probably putting out definitely the better stuff. And, you know, Seagal puts out what he puts out. Van Damme, he'll occasionally still put out something halfway decent, but Scott Adkins probably honestly is putting out the best stuff. Now, this scene, of course, is from Blood and Bone. Now, if Michael Jai White would do a sequel to Blood and Bone, man, I think that would definitely bring the caliber of his films back up quite a bit, because this is the standout film.
For the next 24 hours, he's gonna teach me how to become a martial arts movie star. Because that was my childhood dream.
I think a lot of us watching this, that was a lot of our childhood dreams, right? I mean, growing up in the 80s and 90s, the martial arts movies were just so much bigger than they are now. But a lot of things were, if you think about it. Like, even if you were a rock star back in the 80s or 90s, like in Guns N' Roses or Metallica, that was huge. I don't think like rock stars now are anywhere near that. So everything was just bigger for some reason. Like the amount of fame some of these people get, I don't think will ever be eclipsed with new people now, whether it's music, movies, you know, martial art movies, whatever.
This is crazy.
And then we're gonna make a fight scene.
And again, that's an interesting thing too. When you were inspired by these films and you wanted to take martial arts and learn, it wasn't just to defend yourself. If you wanted to utilize it in any way, the competitions, you know, you had your local tournaments and whatnot, but they didn't have anything like the UFC where, you know, it was like global and you could actually make a really good living now. You really couldn't back then. So really the only opportunity to kind of stand out and get some kind of, you know, maybe recognition or fame and fortune if you were a martial artist was really if you did movies or TV shows. That was about the only opportunities out there. And anybody who was like passionate about it's like, why wouldn't you want to make a living doing that? Of course, you could always be a martial arts instructor, but you're not going to make that much running your dojo, man, unless you got a chain of them like Chuck Norris did back in the day.
But first, Michael has something very important to confess.
There's so many times when I would do what would work in real fighting in movies, and it didn't work.
Can you demonstrate?
Sure.
Okay.
Just
That's a good point. I mean, you really got to telegraph and swing wide. So Michael Jai White obviously trains with a lot of real fighters.
I train with like some of the best fighters I've ever seen. Like Francis Ngannou is a is a human tree.
So you could say he's got those real skills, and then he's got the movie fight skills. So, you know, it's kind of hard to break those habits. That's why, like, professional boxers don't really come across that great in film. But let's see what this example is.
So we're sparring?
Yeah, we're sparring. You just
Okay.
block. Whoa! Okay? Like, see, that was one of my favorite kind of techniques.
That was not fake, by the way. That was an actual kick.
Oh, I didn't kick him. I didn't kick you hard.
But I didn't see it coming.
Because you've blocked the round kick. Used to doing this a million
Right.
times. So
Yeah.
I may switch that.
Yes.
But it looks like crap on film.
That actually looked fine on film, man. I don't think that specific kick looked like crap on film.
Why?
Because it just looks like somewhat of a sloppy front kick.
Right.
But like one of my favorite kicks is that one. Okay?
Wow.
Almost nobody blocks it because by the time you're blocking,
Yeah.
same timing, boom.
Yeah. I
You're in-
expected.
boom.
Bang.
Works on all advanced people. So everybody, try this at home when you're sparring. Don't let me hit you.
Okay.
Yeah, so everybody's used to that.
Right.
Right? I threw it and then they're blocking that. But they're not used to, okay, I throw half of the first technique.
Yes.
I sell you into the second one, but I continue with the original.
I've never seen anything like this
Yeah.
Yeah, so now that kind of stuff, of course, would not look good on film.
before.
Even slow, it's difficult
Yeah.
for the more advanced person to
Yeah.
block it because they're used to faking the first one and they commit to the second.
Yeah.
So I'm doing this. I'm doing this. Pow! Right?
Wow.
But
Yeah, all those double fakes, feints. That's why someone like Tyson Fury, I think, is such a difficult fighter for other boxers because he's so kind of what I always call a herky-jerky, you know? You never know what or when he's going to do something. So people who are trained against more, I don't know if I want to say just normal boxers, boxers that you could kind of learn their habits and other things. You can't really get that from Tyson Fury, man. That really throws a lot of people off.
one thing I learned is that on film, you have to telegraph.
Yeah, exactly. I told you guys, man, you have to telegraph. So, of course, you always got to, like, overemphasize and dramatize things. So, yeah, of course, telegraphing. And I think Van Damme really did that so great, how he set things up, right? Oh, he was brilliant at that.
For people to know what to look for.
And you don't want to telegraph in a real fight.
Exactly. There's a big difference.
Okay.
Like, we'll create an angle that
Yeah, that's huge. That's a huge difference. So, I guess telegraph if you want to fake. So, you're telegraphing the fake move, right? Then you throw a different technique. I mean, that's how the telegraphing would work in a real fight because you're tricking them.
we always see,
Okay.
which is the over shoulder angle. A real hook is I'm going to be hooking like this.
Right.
But on screen, basically it goes, look at me, crack.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's a delicate dance because some things look cool, like say Bruce Lee.
Yeah.
When he cut someone off, like when you're trying to hit me,
Yeah.
pow, and I catch you first, that looked great because we're looking at the attacker,
Yeah.
pow, and then you get caught.
Yeah.
And so it not only surprises the attacker, it surprises the audience. So those are some of the real life things that kind of work.
Bruce Lee knew what he was doing back in the day, man. What a genius. And obviously his Jeet Kune Do and training, he kind of tailored it and designed it for real combat. So it would make sense he would try to implement that in such a way to still make it look cool on film. So, yeah, Bruce Lee, what a genius, man.
When he's not acting, Michael loves to spar and teach world-class champions. And they all want to learn this secret.
I'm going to throw 2 punches. Don't let me hit your hand,
Okay.
right? So just move it out of the way if you see me coming,
Okay.
ready? Okay, that's 1. And here's 2. Okay? Okay, let me do
Yeah, he always demonstrates that, man. That's one of his favorite things.
the second one again,
Yeah.
right? Do not let me hit it.
No, it's impossible.
Well, see, what it is that a real weapon is something that you cannot block, even when you know it's coming. I mean, like, say, Ryan Hall's leg locks.
Right.
Or Ronda Rousey's armbar.
Yeah. Why is this particular punch so hard to stop?
Because you can't tell how close something is coming directly at you. And if I move this, you see that. But if this is moving forward, right?
Yeah.
And then I turn my hip and shoulder at the last second, you don't know it's traveling towards you.
Wait, so that's the opposite of what most people do.
Yes. I will do the opposite.
Well, it worked for George Costanza, so why not Michael Jai White?
Exactly.
They start with the hip and end with the hand.
Which is, it's got its place, but the punch you don't see coming is the one that knocks you out.
Yeah.
I mean, you can even do it with kicks. When the power, it's about committing the hip and the leg.
And in a movie, you don't want to do that.
No, in a movie, like this is effective.
Yeah.
That looks better.
Yeah.
This looks better in a movie.
Yeah.
Look at me.
Yeah.
In reality, you don't want to do that.
No, exactly.
In movies, you do want to do that.
Yeah, movie fighting, that's just a completely different skill, and obviously there's going to be crossover. So Van Damme, in my opinion, just the most beautiful movie fighter out there. But that doesn't mean he can't make some tweaks and utilize it in some real fights. Yeah, because he did have a record. He did compete back in the day. So somebody could obviously make the adjustments, man. But yeah, movie fighting, that's a whole other high skill.
So we've talked about how to attack. So what about how to defend?
I want you to yell, pow, at the end of my punch.
Pow! 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 Pow!
Now, I want you to slip and say pow.
Pow! Pow! Pow!
The best fighters are the defensive fighters.
Yeah.
They take advantage of the other person's flaw.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%, man. Now, obviously, Mayweather is an amazing fighter. Michael Jai White always looks up to him, but he's like the best defensive boxer. So sometimes people don't think his fights are as entertaining, but he's so great. And I always thought that as far as like martial arts, if you can defend extremely well, that's where the real masters are. And that's where I've always seen Seagal and kind of how he portrayed himself in movies, man. Just a masterful at defense.
Did a scene where I'm fighting The Rock's double. And so one of the things is when you watch people, they're fighting, you know, some people drop their hands.
Yeah.
So my character is watching him drop his hands. So, okay. The easiest way to beat him is to give him a target, slip, and when he drops his hands, I catch him. That's a piece of reality that looks good in movies.
So would you?
See, that's what made Blood and Bones so good, man, because he did implement like a lot of these things where you could kind of get into that character and see why he's beating these guys so easily.
You say that the perfect fight scene is something like this, something that works both in a real fight and in a movie.
Now that I can fight like a movie star, I need to look like one.
Yeah, just the right delicate balance. So even though I think Scott Adkins in general is in better movies than Michael Jai White, I do kind of like Michael Jai White's fight scenes more. It's like a little more realistic. Obviously, with what he just did right there is like the most realistic thing, but it does, I think, add more realism to the fights where you could kind of buy it a lot more, and the hits do look a little more impactful.
That's why we're visiting Gold's Gym to train with the former Mr. Olympia, Danny Hester. There's only one problem.
No! Oh my God!
Oh, Danny Hester, yeah, he's old school, man. He used to, I believe, write articles back for Muscle Media 2000 with Bill Phillips.
Oh my God! Oh no! Oh, we are screwed. Makes no sense. I leave something on. What I get for not driving this thing.
Paul Schwarzenegger, Arnold, he has a bigger one, and then you just use the cables, right?
It really doesn't make sense because there's something draining this stupid. Okay, babe, I'm gonna try to get a jump start.
Red on red.
We got the battery running!
Yeah.
Hey, that's what's his name? I can't think off the top of my head, but he's been in a ton of I think he was in like Walker Texas Ranger, a bunch of movies. He trains with Michael Jai White. He's even like one of the cornerman trainers for Bellator. So yeah, that dude's like all over the place, man. It's just funny seeing him in his everyday life jump starting a battery.
2 hours later, we finally make it to Gold's Gym.
This is the Mecca of bodybuilding.
That's when I get the bad news.
Oh, the Mecca of bodybuilding. It must be at Gold's Venice. Yeah, it's funny. Back in the day, I trained there. I remember. This was like decades ago, by the way. And it's just crazy. Everybody you see there, like, I was working out. I was literally right next to Flex Wheeler. And this was when Flex Wheeler was, like, still competing in the Olympia, you know. It was pretty cool. But these people just look ridiculous in person, man.
Turns out, there's no time for training now, because our schedule is super tight. Luckily, I spot something shiny in the background.
Wait, what are these for?
There's a few people who can actually move that.
These are the golden dumbbells. According to legend, only a true superstar can lift these weights. If I manage to move them, my strength training will be complete.
Wait, they're stuck, right?
No,
It's a joke.
No.
No, they're glued.
I want to see Michael Jai White move these things, man.
Just do 5. 5.
Shrugs.
Ready, and 1.
Oh, it's moving.
Yeah, you moved it.
All right, I'm done. It's time to eat like a movie star.
Michael always eats after a workout, and he's a foodie, just like me.
I'm gonna get my favorite.
Okay, we're having a bison burger.
Except I eat for pleasure, but he eats for purpose.
Oh, and I'm gonna get.
Yeah, eating for purpose, man. Right after the workout, you need ideally the best whey protein and a very simple carb, something like dextrose. So check the link below. Perfect post-workout stack that I use myself, man, for max recovery. And I'm working out for hours at a time, but this will get me back in the gym the next day. It'll help.
Get a protein shake to go.
That looks unhealthy to the average person.
This is a bison burger.
Okay.
The meal after a workout is very important. So what we just did was broke down muscle.
Yeah.
And what we're going to do is repair that muscle. It's a window of opportunity for replenishing your carbohydrate storage.
Oh, here's mine.
There you go, man. Replenish the glycogen, muscle glycogen, carbohydrate storage with the dextrose. You want that simple carb, and then of course the whey protein to repair the muscles. So again, click that link below.
Enticing, right?
I'd much rather eat this bison burger and french fries, though, to be honest with you, man. You can't do that like every day, though, after the workout.
Oh, cool. This is guilt-free.
No,
it doesn't go to the thighs, it goes to the muscles.
It goes to the muscles.
All right. But a lot of people think that carbs is bad.
You might say fat is bad. No, but fat is essential. Of course, carbohydrates have been connected to people being obese, overweight, because they have way too many carbs.
Yes.
You don't need nearly as many carbs as you think.
But speaking of like simple carbs, man, like dextrose or even gummy bears, you really only want to eat them right after the workout. Otherwise, it's going to do more harm than good. And you do need everything, like Michael Jai White said. Obviously, he's a fitness guy as much as a martial artist. So fats are essential. You even need saturated fat, ideally from like animals, red meat. And that's like a natural precursor to testosterone. You need all that in your diet. Definitely stay away from like the fake manufacturer, like trans fat, saturated fats. That stuff will kill you. But the natural things, again, natural is always best. And natural saturated fat actually has a purpose. And it should be in your diet.
After finishing our burgers, it's time for my very last lesson.
We are going to teach you how to shoot.
The only gun I've ever held was a toy, but Michael and Danny are not playing around.
So is this what you would actually use in a real movie?
You may actually use a real gun, but you'll be using blanks.
But would that be dangerous if you got hit?
The armorer, the gun person, doesn't check. There could be something that's in the barrel. And, you know, famously, we lost Bruce Lee's son that way.
Yeah, that is horrible, man. I still remember when that happened. You guys should check out this video I did talking about Brandon Lee, and of course I had to bring that part up too. And yeah, that's a really good video. One of the early videos I did back in the day when I was doing top 5 martial art film stars who weren't Steven Seagal or Van Damme. So yeah, and I put him out as number 1. Like so much potential. We lost him at such an early age. Such a shame, man.
A lot of the movies I do, I'm not even shooting anything.
No?
And so we're making it seem like...
Oh, like a special effects.
Yeah. After. But I do enjoy training with a real gun.
And of course, you know, if you want to be in action films, not only do you need ideally the good martial arts skills, you need to know how to like shoot weapons and handle guns, because that's basically what you're doing, man. Kicking ass, shooting guns, etc.
That target is in between this, and the target. I want you to squeeze the trigger. First shot! Check you out.
Was it good?
Yeah, you hit it. You know, this is ridiculous.
Is this good?
That's very good.
He must have had some secret training with Steven Seagal, man. Like, Steven Seagal is like one of the best marksmen out there. And who knows, I think he gave him something, at least some tips, man.
When you're really a good shot, once in a while you can light a match. But that's some super shooting there, boy.
He knows what he's doing, and he knows how to put lead on target.
You know, being a lifelong practitioner in martial arts, I try to teach everyone not to fight the recoil of the weapon, but more to become one with the weapon and let it be an extension of their body.
Yeah. Like, seriously. Just keep going. Okay. This is ridiculous. This is crazy. He's 90%, like first time ever shooting.
Learn well, grasshopper.
That was very good.
Thank you.
See if he does it with the AR.
This is one of the scariest things I've ever done.
Oh, it's empty.
This is such a great channel Jesse does, by the way, right? I mean, there's no wonder why he's got 610,000 subscribers. I mean, doing these, like, trips and pseudo-documentaries, like when he did with Steven Seagal, for example, and training with him, and now Michael Jai White, and shooting guns, and they're going to do their movie fight scene. This is really cool stuff, man.
That was such an amazing experience. But tomorrow is time for the grand finale. Now, I gotta hit the bed.
After 24 hours, it's finally time to make my childhood dream come true.
Mike, I'd love to do a fight scene together.
Two things that you should always know about a fight scene. Every good fight scene should tell a story. See, the audience has to know who to hate and who to root for.
He does. He does.
So naturally, since you're just starting out, you're going to have to play the bad guy.
Yeah, we need to see a reason why they're fighting, and ideally in a good movie, you really are on board with the character and involved. So even if you're aware of that, though, doesn't mean the execution's going to be right, because you could be aware of what you need to do, but to execute it properly. I always like to give it a perfect example like Lionheart, man. You're just so on board with this character and his motivation to fight. It's so selfless. So that's a standout film, man.
You definitely got hard fighting. Don't ever lose it, because you never get back.
Speaking of underground fight films, though, Lionheart is definitely top dog. Even Hard Times with Charles Bronson's cool, but Blood and Bone with Michael Jai White, that one stands up there too.
Hey, yo! You must ain't know where you is, player. This my block, son. And if my peeps ain't put you on, you wassed out.
Well, we definitely want to see him get his ass kicked. Yeah, look at Michael Jai White's face. I don't think he's feeling that one, man.
Nah, that doesn't work. I'm not buying you as a boy in the hood.
No?
No. Even though you do have a very hood name, kind of like Leroy, or the Blues. Black people don't even use it anymore.
Okay.
But plus, you look too nice. Yeah. You know what?
That's the thing with casting. Casting's huge, right? So if Jesse's gonna play the bad guy, he does look too nice. Plus, he's smaller, right? Michael Jai White's just more bigger and powerful. So the underdog villain doesn't really work, man.
Okay. What we'll do like Enter the Dragon, right? We'll be two warriors meeting in a test of Mortal Kombat.
We can't say that, it will be sued.
Okay, well, two warriors meeting to see who's the best of the...
No.
Undisputed?
No.
But I was in that movie.
That don't last two.
Right. Oh, okay, all right. Enter the Black Dragon. It's like with Bruce and Chuck. We'll do the fight scene in a really big arena.
But we only have 2 hours. And I ain't got no money.
Well, we could just use this park right here. It's a stadium.
With my dog.
We had to use her to start the fight.
Come on, man.
You know, like Enter the Dragon. Come on, man. She's got to end the fight. Don't be like that.
I'm actually surprised, like, more people aren't out there, man. Just a beautiful day out in California, good weather, no audience. you think a crowd would start forming, right? Obviously, with the choreography, they didn't really have that much time to shoot it. The hits don't look that impactful, but for what they're doing in the limited amount of time, it's not bad, but it just looks very rehearsed, very choreographed, very light. So you would think they would work on this ideally for a bit longer, and then when they film it, they would just, you know, make the hits actually feel like they hit. But that's the problem in a lot of movies, man. Even the ones that, like, they shoot the fight scene and then it's out, and you watch it when it's the completed film, and it doesn't really have the impact, man. I know people will say, like, Steven Seagal or even Jean-Claude Van Damme, like, hit people. You could kind of tell when you watch the movie, because especially those body shots, man, it's, unless you're making at least some contact, it just comes across as, you know, it's choreography. You know, it doesn't look or feel like a real fight, unfortunately. But it's a movie. We don't want these people, like, working on the films get hurt, obviously, and, you know, it's still entertaining to watch. Overall, yeah, really cool episode, fun episode, man. And again, for just being a YouTube video, it's like, you know, Jesse Enkamp raises the bar on the kind of stuff that people do on YouTube. So this year I do plan to do some trips and train with a couple of different martial artists. Now, I don't necessarily think, unfortunately, my production values are going to be as good as Jesse's, at least not yet, but hopefully I could get up to that level someday.